Dragon Ball Z's Oozaru, the original Primal Saiyan transformation, the ultimate in intimidation tactics, the goddamn golden Great Ape, baby. For anyone that tuned into this video with love and appreciation for the original and most badass Saiyan transformation, you've come to the right place. Smash the like button if you're a fan of Saiyan tales and the mayhem they bring, because we ain't covering any sparkly gods or wimpy angel techniques in this video. We're gonna spend a bit more time with our cuddly Oozaru. We're actually going to look at something that made an impact on screen, even with its pitiful 10 times multiplier amp. I mean, 10 times, seriously? Look at that thing! You're telling me blonde hair dye is 50 times, but transforming into the most badass ape only grants 10 times? Do you see what's wrong here? Because I'll tell you what's wrong. In terms of impact, when the Saiyan Oozaru rocked up, it felt more than 10 times, brother. It felt like 100 times, 1,000 times. And that's early Dragon Ball Z. But even if you want to get critical in terms of Dragon Ball Z battles, do you even know how deadly 10 times is in general? 50 times for Super Saiyan has always been a bullshit move and goes to show how backed into the corner they were in terms of using power levels willy-nilly, how messed up the show was getting in terms of its own balance and scaling. 10 times, as stated in the guides, is friggin' enormous, absolutely monstrous of a power-up, where 1.25 times is enough to start dominating an opponent, but 10 times? Why are you ducking this? Are you that consumed by godly multipliers? A 495 quad bajillion wajillion multiversey boom boom spanky spanky power-ups? Take a look at Dragon Ball battles and know your domination multipliers based on actual source material in the manga itself, as well as the anime. 1.25 times to 2 times the opponent means you're on the way to tanking them. Imagine Goku and Piccolo fought 2 times Raditz. 1 was a goddamn handful, but 2 times? Or heck, even Raditz with 3000 battle power. Imagine the bloodshed. But then imagine Raditz getting 10 times stronger with the Oozaru power. Do you see the truth here now? The Oozaru is way stronger than the Great Ape, meaning stronger than you thought, because power sense in Dragon Ball has been completely destroyed over the decades. And it all started around the time Super Saiyan became a 50 times multiplier. That was tolerable, but 400 times for Super Saiyan 3, then Super Saiyan God, whatever the hell you want that to be, I don't care. I'm going back to 10 times, which is far stronger of a multiplier than you think, and it felt way more on screen when the Oozaru surfaced. Now check this, I bet you didn't know this. So Vegeta in the Saiyan saga had a power level of 18,000, guides give the Oozaru 10 times, making him 180,000 as Oozaru. But you do realize a power of 180,000 isn't what actually fought Goku, because Vegeta was already weakening after the Gallic Gun, and then created his own artificial moon that drastically lowered his power again, as stated, meaning before the Oozaru metamorphosis even took place, Vegeta could reasonably have been under 10,000 of a power level. So on a high ball, the Great Ape that fought Goku was 100,000, which basically means Goku was lucky as fuck that he didn't fight the full wrath of Vegeta's maximum strength. And even 100k still obliterated Goku's Kaioken. Vegeta's max strength as an Oozaru was far stronger than what we actually saw in the Dragon Ball Z Saiyan saga. But then we get to the best part, the Golden Oozaru. Just 500 times? Really? Really? With the way he was tanking and ragdoll in Super Baby 2, yeah, you're gonna quickly find out why that has always been bullshit based on scaling alone. At the end chapter in this video, I've pulled my Golden Oozaru scaling for you to show you the true amp for the Super Saiyan of Legend. But even if you want to look at this in simple idiot terms, I'll tell you why, right now, why Golden Oozaru is stronger than the Golden Great Ape. Super Saiyan Baby Vegeta was able to tank Super Saiyan 3 Goku, making him around 2 times Super Saiyan 3 Goku if you want to. Goku returns with his tail, Goku goes Super Saiyan 3 again, and it's literally stated in the original dialogue, Goku never gained power by having his tail back, confirmed by Baby Vegeta himself, who previously fought Goku's power. He knows in verse. You do realize Super Saiyan Baby Vegeta had gone through 2 more forms by this point. Essentially Super Saiyan 1 to Super Saiyan 3 equivalent, as the GT Perfect file states. So that means Baby gets 8 times the power he used against Super Saiyan 3 Goku in their first fight, making him at least 16 times Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Now despite no official official Golden Oozaru multiplier is ever given, for its own unique form by the way, you want to come in here with your little headcanon and say, the Golden Ape is 50 times for Super Saiyan, then 10 times for the Golden Oozaru, because you were too lazy to actually watch and scale GT properly, making it 20% stronger than Super Saiyan 3 Goku's 400 times amp. Yeah, that's amazing. That 20% power difference from Super Saiyan 3 will definitely help close the gap on Super Baby 2, who was at least 16 times stronger than Super Saiyan 3. Look pal, for Golden Oozaru to even match up to Super Baby 2 in raw strength, he would require a 6,400 times multiplier from base form, and then to tank Super Baby 2, which he did, he would be 2 times that, so 12,800 of an increase at least, and then it was stated to constantly rise in the battle before Super Saiyan 4. And this is in simple idiot terms, guys. You will find out why the Super Saiyan of Legend is thousands of times above the simple idiot numbers that I just gave you. And Golden Great Ape Baby Oozaru is far more deadlier than that, because the Oozaru is stronger than the Great Ape. So take your little 500 times multiplier,
turn that some sideways, and stick it straight up your candy ass!
And Oozaru is basically inspired from King Kong, as well as the principle of werewolves transform into a full moon. When you see a Great Ape in Dragon Ball, Goku, Vegeta, or any other Saiyan pirates, they all act in similar ways to Kong. They jump around, they smash, they throw huge objects. Apart from the ones who can control their rationale like Vegeta. They endure military gunfire, as shown against the Tuffles. So the first thing you have to understand about Dragon Ball Z is the tier of powers. Planet busting, solar system buster, galaxy level, universe level, and to a degree you have to understand power levels, especially during the Saiyan saga to gauge further levels of feats. For a character like Vegeta in the Saiyan saga, power levels are important. It was already established long before through anime cutscenes that his level of power without even becoming a Great Ape was enough to turn whole planets into rubble. As demonstrated in the old King Vegeta scenes, the Saiyan race were known to wipe out planets, sell them, and even destroy them as a whole. Vegeta with his Gallic gun was ready to blow up the Earth, and Goku felt his power and believed him. We can take those anime clips as well with King Vegeta as gospel if you want to, but if we try to work it out with calculations, can Vegeta in the Saiyan saga without being an Oozaru destroy a planet? Now, the way in which a character like Vegeta destroys a planet is through the use of his chi, ki energy, and it's projected towards the planet, destroying mountains of Earth in the process, finally hitting the center of the planet in typical fashion, and then finally blowing up. It said you need a power level of about 450, or at least over 400 to destroy the moon. The moon is about 1/4 the size of Earth, so you can consider a power level of approximately 2,000 is required to safely destroy the Earth in simple terms. Safely destroy, you know what I mean, guys. There's nothing safe about destroying the Earth. Safely securing the feat, you could say. But the main factor is its mass. The Earth is denser than the moon and therefore ought to require a power level stronger than 2,000 to destroy it. So maybe 2,000 is not enough to destroy the Earth, but Vegeta is comfortable that he was going to destroy the Earth. He had a power level of 18,000, which if it doesn't vaporize Earth with its energy, that should be more than enough to hit the core and destroy the Earth anyway, with a big explosion on top. Whichever way you want to slice the cake, once Vegeta becomes an Oozaru or Great Ape, it has been stated in official sources and material that Vegeta's power increases by 10. This is everything in terms of power, including his energy blasts, which would now be able to destroy the equivalent of 10 planet Earths. So even an Oozaru Vegeta's attacks with no intention of destroying the planet could easily be small planet level when projected towards an opponent. At least. However, if we are talking about Goku's Oozaru in early Dragon Ball, his power level at the start is apparently 10, so an Oozaru Goku would have a power level of 100. Now, considering you need 450 or something to destroy a moon, and roughly 2,000 and above to destroy the Earth, through a linear increase, we could assume Oozaru Goku at the start needs to be 20 times stronger to be planet level, so we could assume he is maybe continent level, country level if he's wielding energy blast. The majority of us fans who were first faced with this beast in early Dragon Ball where Goku would transform and unleash hell, symbolized a terrifying, unexplained power in Goku to begin with, which maintained its mystery right up until the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, where it was made clear by the Saiyan characters that the tail is the source to the Saiyan's true power, the Oozaru, and that Goku is a Saiyan naturally, and without the tail, the transformation is not possible. Unless we count GT where Baby Vegeta, and even without Baby Possessed, can achieve it with the oversaturation of Roots waves. But early on, the tail was the key to this form. Goku transforms in Emperor Pilaf's chambers, and he went on a rampage destroying the castle. Instantly, at that time in Dragon Ball, this was a big deal,
and the horrible stories of the beast that comes out during the full moon began surfacing. And we finally find out, as the Dragon Ball series moves on, that Goku was the one who killed his grandpa Gohan. Immediately, the Oozaru form was instantly giving me the chills as this terrifying, horrible power within. And this was a great bit of writing, making our beloved, calm, loving Goku lose all control. The contrast was superb. Again, in the 21st World's Martial Arts Tournament, the Oozaru makes a return, and with the help of Jackie Chan destroying the moon, the Oozaru form within Goku had been disabled. Now in Dragon Ball, the symbolizing of the Oozaru was superb. We saw it when Goku drinks the Ultra Divine Water for a bit, and when punching King Piccolo. We see flashes of Oozaru. It emphasized Goku's hidden power within, being brought out for that moment. And in Dragon Ball, the Great Ape was Goku's hidden power. It was like his spirit animal in a way, whilst he was in his humanoid form. But after these moments, the Oozaru form, in terms of it being Goku's key to strength, had disappeared, as his tail was removed by Kami in exchange for the moon being returned. And we really see the form get demonstrated in its full potential by Vegeta, the Prince of all Saiyans, and also how much of a mockery Kakarot is for not having his tail anymore. The Oozaru was made a big deal out of, and we find out that even when Goku overpowers Vegeta with a Kaioken, the Great Ape instantly closes that gap and creates its own advantage, implying it was superior. And what's more, Vegeta controls the Great Ape power, something we didn't see Goku do, and this made it even more terrifying, a form like that being wielded at will. The fight was so bloody and epic, it made the Oozaru appear horrifying when crushing Goku's legs. Gohan's Oozaru transformation against Vegeta was incredible. Vegeta fought for his life, and it really put me on the edge of my seat, much like it did to you guys. Even when Piccolo was training Gohan, the ape showed itself, and every time the Great Ape appeared, it meant business. And that's what counts. Even in a variety of movies and specials, the Oozaru form always felt dominating, and made us see what Saiyans really are in terms of brute power. It would appear that during this time of Dragon Ball Z, the Oozaru had stapled itself into the history books as the true Saiyan power, and it was a damn good one. We soon get wind that it's just a 10 times boost, but meh, I don't care about power multipliers anymore. The impact that form had on the show was incredible. Impact over multipliers for me. What's even more important was that the story of the Saiyans involved the use of the Great Apes to overcome the Tuffle race and take over the planet, again building the form's legacy even more. And if that's not the most important part, these giant apes, although when in their humanoid forms were no threats to Frieza and his forces, Dodoria tells Frieza that the Great Apes could indeed be a handful of problems if they worked in numbers around a full moon, which triggered Frieza even more to getting rid of them because they could cause trouble. So even during Frieza's big reign, the masses of Oozaru did indeed spark a fuss in Frieza's mind, and that in itself is an accomplishment of threat levels.
Now, with the Saiyans, could they have stopped Frieza if they worked together before the events of the Bardock special and even before the events of the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie? Of course, I'm going to be talking about this through a theoretical power versus power standpoint as well, because if we think about the events of the Bardock special, Frieza dropped his energy ball onto planet Vegeta, and let's say all of the Saiyans joined forces and launched an almighty combined blast to deflect the bomb. The chances that Frieza would just launch another one after that is highly likely, because he would then continue to see the Saiyans as an even bigger threat standing up for themselves. And if that next energy ball failed, let's be honest, he could easily hit his second form and launch an even greater level of power to wipe them all out. That is, if the Saiyans aren't already tired out after trying to deflect the balls. That's how Frieza rolls. He destroys everything around him, including planets, and he can live in space. It's a cop-out, but there you go, it's Frieza. The scenario is basically the same in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. Frieza believed it was best to put the sleeping beast down before they could get awakened. He feared that they would rebel against him one day, being the warrior race that they are and always growing stronger. But let's think about this from a Dragon Ball cinematic perspective and imagine an actual battle happened. Base form Frieza arrives on planet Vegeta or anywhere else after he initially took over the Saiyans and the planet. However, something has changed. In this scenario, let's say the Saiyans had a gut feeling that Frieza would eventually turn on them, so they rallied their warriors for battle. Now, we have to remember, the majority of these Saiyans could said to be under the 10,000 mark in terms of power. I remember in the Broly movie, the Saiyans who were targeting Frieza were detected to have power levels of 2,000, which caught Frieza's eye. So let's imagine a perfect scenario. Pretty much a whole army of Saiyans surrounded Frieza on some other planet, lured him in, and there's a full moon. They all transform, so we have base form Frieza versus hundreds of Great Apes with battle powers ranging between 20,000 to 100,000. Heck, even put Vegeta and his father amongst them too, and we have some pretty extra beefy power levels to cause damage. Now let's think about the logistics of this fight. Think about how much room hundreds of Great Apes would take up.
How would they even be able to move around each other to hit something as small as Frieza? They would literally crash into each other, especially if some have no control over their rationale. Even an army of Great Apes could cause as much harm to themselves as they're trying to cause to Frieza. Now with Frieza, being in full control of his senses, still has an extremely high power in his base form, over 500,000, which is truly above any Great Ape. Combine that with his speed, this guy will outmove all of those Great Apes, fly high above them, cause damage, and will probably be swift enough to death beam each of them one by one in a matter of seconds because he's nearly 10 times stronger than most of them. Just look how well Goku did against Berta and Jace in his base form. Not only that, his energy balls would probably be strong enough to cause serious damage to most of them in groups. I don't think I see any Oozaru being able to jump up high and hit a super nimble Frieza, if I'm honest. It would be like an Ascended Trunks versus Perfect Cell, probably much worse than that. In terms of raw power, sure, the apes collectively have the edge here unless Frieza is in his final form. Think about it. An average Great Ape, let's say, is 20,000. Multiply that by, heck, let's say 1,000 apes. And we only come to 20 million. And that's not even 50% final form Frieza. And that's collectively with the Great Apes if they all work together, which is not going to happen, guys, let's be honest. They're going crazy. And another problem is these Saiyans are not going to be as in tune as someone like Android 17 and 18 working together. In their Great Ape forms, all they want to do is crush the enemy. Or probably fight it out amongst themselves because they're barbaric. Now, let's say Frieza went into his second form. That alone would be enough to kill all of the apes one by one anyway. Third form would be an overkill. No ape would be able to touch him. And if Frieza is crafty enough to fly up high or hide or transform to full power, this guy is winning in battle situations. Heck, Frieza is smart. He would probably destroy the moon anyway, reverting the Great Apes back unless Vegeta or someone else used the artificial moon, which Frieza again would destroy that anyway with his lightning speed. Frieza would have no need to use his army in this fight either. If they did get involved, they still have a lot of heavy firepower to attack the Great Apes. Think about it. Zarbon could probably take out an average Great Ape by himself. The Saiyans were royally screwed even in perfect situation battle circumstances, and that's with just Frieza having a presence. If it didn't get to a battle, Frieza would just probably obliterate them as a whole. But let's say some lucky circumstances happened. The Great Apes managed to give base form Frieza a few cheeky slaps mid-air until the King Vegeta and his son managed to beefy bum drop onto Frieza's base form and squash him so he couldn't move. Then, and only then, can I see the Saiyans performing any sort of damage to base form Frieza before he could transform. It's a pretty slim turn of events, but the only way to stop Frieza would be to slap him down and quickly pummel him. But with multiple apes, could their combined fists even hit him? He could probably tank hits multiple times because he's 10 times stronger than him in raw power. I just don't see any scenario where even the combined Saiyan assault could beat Frieza with the level of power they had. Maybe if Frieza didn't destroy Planet Vegeta, when he did, give the Saiyans another year or two to grow, then they perform the attack. Maybe their growth then could stop Frieza, but they would all have to be in on the deal, together. They would have to be motivated enough, all of them, to stand up to the tyrant and not be scared. Which leads me to the other main reason why the Saiyans didn't rebel sooner, or couldn't, and that's fear. If we remember the Bardock special, most Saiyans didn't believe Bardock, and if you took any individual Saiyan out, they would obviously be submissive to Frieza's reign, because they feared him in terms of power. So they were probably too scared individually to stand up for themselves, and Bardock was not persuasive enough to bring them all to their senses in time, unless all Saiyans at the exact same time came to their senses and decided, we are going to do this. Otherwise there would be no fighting chance at all, because it's an instinct. To see a tyrant of that power and being powerless to stop him, a handful of Saiyans are not going to make a difference. You literally need a speech from Mel Gibson from Braveheart to stay in the fight, and a lot more. And it would always be solid for Saiyans to plot any sort of rebel against Frieza anyway. Think about it. The scouters they had always transmitted to Frieza. And I'm sure the Frieza Force always had their eyes on the Saiyans anyway, wherever they go. But I just want to know your thoughts, guys. Do you think if the Saiyans plotted against Frieza back in the day, and in the perfect circumstances with a full moon, loads of Great Apes, could the Saiyans have had a fighting chance, or was Frieza always in control? I remember Frieza wiped the floor with King Vegeta's assault in Dragon Ball Z, and I remember him blitzing multiple sniper power levels of 2000 with ease in the Broly movie. I personally feel the Saiyans were screwed no matter how much you look at it, no matter which way we look at it. They would all have to be Super Saiyans to even stand a chance.
The Golden Great Ape, the Golden Oozaru, the Super Saiyan of legend, the legendary Super Saiyan. No, we're not talking about Broly's legendary Super Saiyan form. Scholars, we are talking about the legendary myth that was the ultimate hype train for Goku's first Super Saiyan transformation on Namek. The legend that was greatly brought to our attention in the Namek and Frieza saga was the building block of the great power to come episodes and chapters later. This legend was known by Vegeta all the way to Frieza, throughout the armies, and was one of the main reasons why Frieza eliminated the Saiyans in the first place, because of the knowledge he had of the Super Saiyan who would emerge and destroy him, potentially. Well, it did in the form of the prince's son, Trunks. You see, Frieza was an ass throughout his entire Dragon Ball Z appearance, but it was only this legend that ever fazed him or caused him to tremble. This legend was told extremely well, in a terrifying way, able to send chills down all of the villain's spines, before Goku even turned into this humanoid version of the Super Saiyan, and with such an impactful image of how it looked. Such a dominating presence, even through the tales.
It's Kaishin Kurt here, and I make documentaries on Dragon Ball from the Kaishin realm, and I'm privileged today to be hosted by the Saiyan Scholar to talk about the legend of the Super Saiyan. So it originally started way back in manga chapter 280, and in these chapters we learn certain facts about the legend. So firstly, the Super Saiyan is a legendary figure which appears once every 1,000 years. Second thing is that they are the mightiest warrior in the universe and the one thing Frieza fears. The third thing is that they overcome the wall which no warrior can overcome. The fourth thing is that they love battle and blood. And the fifth thing is that they act ruthlessly. When Vegeta talks about how there's one every 1,000 years, it implies that there could have been previous Super Saiyans, and DBZ episode 66 adds to this by showing a glimpse of how they looked. Whether this was the last Super Saiyan or another one was never revealed. However, the guidebook Daizenshu 7 has a timeline which has an entry at 239 before age for the appearance of the Super Saiyan. Why this date, you may ask? Well, Goku first became a Super Saiyan in age 762, so 239 before age is roughly 1,000 years before this. In the manga and Japanese anime, we're not told any details about the Great Ape looking being. It has glowing red eyes and a gold hue around its exterior, but the golden hue might be a result of the planet's destruction, rather than proving it was a silhouetted golden Great Ape. There isn't any tail visible, but it was the size of a Great Ape, as it holds people in its hand. It roared and seemed to cause the whole planet to explode. Despite this, the Japanese version has no narration here, so we can't know 100% whether the Saiyan destroyed the planet. But it's amazing anyone survived to tell of this legend. The destructive actions probably gave rise to the loving blood and battle part of the legend. If we listen to the dub, it's an example of the original dialogue being completely changed though. It refers to the being as the last Super Saiyan and in the transformed state. Our fandom then twisted this, proclaiming on Dragon Ball Wikia that this being is the original Super Saiyan, which was actually never stated in the Japanese version or the dub. Vegeta did imply there were other Super Saiyans because they appear once every 1,000 years, but we're not told whether a Super Saiyan is born as one or whether they transform into it. But nowadays we know transformation is the way to becoming the Super Saiyan, as this happened to Goku and co. The dub also says the Super Saiyan was too primitive, which was probably a reference to his Great Ape form, and his rage eventually consumed him. He was destroyed by his own power. This created speculation that the Super Saiyan destroyed the original homeworld of the Saiyans, the planet before planet Plant. But this wasn't mentioned anywhere in the whole of Dragon Ball Z. Compared to the Japanese dialogue, the dub proved more of a legend, so that's probably why it's stuck in our minds, but the dub lines don't hold up with the series after episode 66, as we never saw a Super Saiyan fail to control their power and then self-destruct. For several chapters in the Namek saga, there is a recurring theme of people wondering whether Goku or Vegeta had become the Super Saiyan. We now know becoming a Super Saiyan is accompanied by unmistakable visual changes, but these aren't hinted in the legend, as Toriyama hadn't probably finished the Super Saiyan design yet. Most expected the Super Saiyan to be extremely powerful but not look any different. This could be why Frieza didn't understand what had happened to Goku when he transformed, as he thought Saiyans could only transform into the Great Ape. Many believe the episode 66 filler was foreshadowing the Golden Great Ape in GT, which they argue is the true form of the Super Saiyan. This foreshadowing idea is somewhat unlikely though, as Toriyama hadn't yet solidified the design of the Super Saiyan, and it was years before GT was dreamed up, and at this point there was no indication the Super Saiyan would look different to a normal one. In GT, having the Saiyan tail was imperative for transforming into Super Saiyan 4, but what that form would look like, not even the elder Kaioshin knew. When Goku transformed into the Great Ape, and then the Golden Great Ape, he was out of control. Elder Kaishin saw the Golden Great Ape as a negative transformation and the consequence of pulling out Goku's tail too soon. However, the fact that even Goku rampaged about and being extremely violent agrees with the Super Saiyan legend. Additionally, the GT Perfect files, which are an official guidebook, states, "One can think of the Golden Oozaru form as perhaps fit to be called the true Super Saiyan." This statement was a rare effort from an official source to explain a plot hole, so maybe the Super Saiyan shown in Vegeta's filler was a Golden Great Ape, loving blood and battle. Maybe the once every 1,000 years part of the legend doesn't mean there will be a time gap of 1,000 years separating the appearance of each Super Saiyan, but rather there will be one Super Saiyan for every 1,000-year period, who can appear at any time during that era. Goku just happened to appear at the tail end of his 1,000 years, while Vegeta appeared right at the start of his, so they were only separated by a few years. To wrap up my thoughts, I think the anime staff might have used elements from Vegeta's filler scene in Dragon Ball Z to design the Golden Great Ape years later. I personally think the golden design looks way more epic than regular Great Ape, and the golden colour signifies superiority, royalty, and the dominance of this form. I think you can definitely see it as the true Super Saiyan form of the legend, as you can't completely rule it out or disprove it. The writers were careful to use previous material to generate a new transformation, even if it was filler in the first place.
Why has the Super Saiyan of legend become a total disgrace to modern Dragon Ball? How could this iconic original Super Saiyan, one that appears every 1,000 years, how could it get so watered down and get rendered obsolete from where we are now in modern Dragon Ball? How did this legend get forgotten and also get totally overshadowed by Goku's amazing Super Saiyan transformation on Namek? You see, the original Super Saiyan tale was solely there to fuel the story, ready for Goku to become a Super Saiyan, shockingly in a humanoid form, to showcase that his version of this Super Saiyan is totally different from that of legend. And what way would that be? Well, the legend was referred to that of being one who lost control once it went super whilst as a Great Ape. But with Goku as a Super Saiyan fighting Frieza, he did not lose control. And I feel that was the theme of the saga, the message about the power. Toriyama wanted to tell us that because Goku grew up differently, the Saiyan that comes from Earth, the Saiyan that cares and has feelings, that he is able to tap into this legendary power, but in a way that fits a kind-hearted Earthling. Totally different from the Saiyans of years ago, the ruthless kind. The whole Namek saga was about Goku not being like the other Saiyans. Even Frieza was surprised, and Vegeta and all the other villains expected Goku to be this ruthless being if he's a Super Saiyan, but Goku refused. Even as a Super Saiyan, Frieza egged him on to be a killer, but Goku controlled his emotions, showing Frieza that he is different. I am the hope of the universe! I am the answer to all living things that cry out for apple pie. Goku was different, but he still had those Saiyan perks. Even Master Roshi emphasized that Goku was trying to hold on to who he was with that power. That was the theme. The reason why Goku's Super Saiyan form was a huge thing to remember from the Namek saga, and not the Super Saiyan of legend, was because Goku is presumably the first ever Saiyan to wield the Super Saiyan power in a regular humanoid form. Goku is going against the grain of tradition, so to speak, and that set the way for the rest of the series and beyond. Oddly though, it seems everyone can fight as a Super Saiyan that way now, like Goku, even Universe 6 Saiyans. So does that mean they aren't the unique Super Saiyans anymore, and the original Super Saiyan is actually the unique one because of how it was the Golden Ape? Over time, the Super Saiyan of legend, to me anyway, has become more and more memorable because of how different it was to every single Super Saiyan we see these days. And it's through that only some of us will remember the Super Saiyan of legend for its tense story placement. Without this build-up, without the Super Saiyan of legend to make us all get hyped up and make Frieza get goosebumps, without that, then Goku's Super Saiyan form would never have been as impactful at the time of the story without that build-up. It was poetry that this Super Saiyan emerged in 1,000 years to actually defeat the tyrant that ended their race. And it was a Saiyan who didn't grow up as a Saiyan. It's incredible writing, and I feel Goku's Super Saiyan transformation on Namek should massively thank the original Super Saiyan of legend before it as being the backbone to its dominating on-screen presence. I do respect in GT how the original Super Saiyan of legend was respected and brought in with Goku as an Oozaru, turning into the Golden Oozaru. if only briefly. It felt incredible though, and to think after all this time and training Goku had, the Golden Great Ape was the form that started to make baby Vegeta run away in fear. That was total respect. It was that terrifying even years after villains like Majin Buu. It's a shame Vegeta didn't get a good run with the Golden Oozaru form. I felt that GT really missed that opportunity. And even in the baby fight, it was more of a stepping stone to Super Saiyan 4, albeit a very important stepping stone. Once again, the Super Saiyan of Legend becomes just as important in the series that came after it. In a nutshell, what the hell happened? A damn Super Saiyan bargain sale, and whilst the yard sale was open with hundreds of Super Saiyan toys, the old Super Saiyan of Legend was left down in the basement where nobody seemed to talk about it anymore. And that's another thing, it's just completely ignored by the majority now, made irrelevant around all of the god and angel powers now. It's a level of power which is completely overshadowed. But who the heck doesn't love giant monsters fighting and destroying everything? That's some of the best moments in TV history. King Kong, Godzilla, Power Rangers. If there's one thing I wish for, it would be a spin-off episode or movie, maybe an old TV special similar to the Bardock special in History of Trunks, where it shows that original Super Saiyan and his or her story. Take my money. Who knows, maybe this legend will get more respect as time goes on, but it's certainly one I will never forget the feeling of. In hands down, one of the best sagas in Dragon Ball history. Did we need more lore and background about this character? Based on all the crap we got now in modern Dragon Ball, I would say yes. This was a very interesting character, especially on what their background motives and reason for transforming were, considering how the power comes in response to a need line was drilled into us a lot throughout early Dragon Ball. Maybe that Super Saiyan was kind-hearted just like Goku, but I fear we will never know. And maybe it's that mystery is what keeps it special in our hearts. Many think this was Yamoshi, but I'm not so sure on that one. All calculations in this video are fully explained in my complete Dragon Ball GT Power Scale series on the channel, which contains hours of in-depth GT analysis, which I highly recommend you taking a look at if you want to find out the most accurate levels of power of the GT verse. I've done my best to collect and analyze all of the source material and original dialogue to give you the most definitive version of GT. Definitely check out that series as it will answer all of your questions. The Golden Oozaru is incredibly interesting. It's not just Super Saiyan plus Oozaru in terms of multipliers. That mere amp of 500 times base form would never close a gap between base Goku and baby. 500 times was just fan theories and they just wanted it to make sense. Ooh, Super Saiyan, ooh, Oozaru, 10 times 50. No, it's not quite that underwhelming, Scholar. The Golden Oozaru, or should I call it, the original Super Saiyan of Legend, is its own standalone new form with its own perks and multiplier. You just have to read the dialogue rather than be lazy and read a Reddit page. And let me tell you, it's goddamn awesome. Golden Oozaru Goku caused Baby to go into a panic and kept him on the defense. Yes, he remembered what the Saiyans did to the Tuffles in the past, but he quickly regained his composure, knowing he's far surpassed the warriors of the past. So Baby being in fear is out of the question. It was overcome. So he charges up his revenge death ball and goes for the attack, but Golden Oozaru Goku counterattacks and smashed Baby into a stunned state. Baby quickly admits that Golden Oozaru is incredible in terms of power, to the point where Baby is completely outclassed, and all his blasts do is cripple a building, causing the Golden Oozaru to fall over like a drunken ape. That's it. He even blasts the ape in the face, and all it does is make him slip, and then he regroups anyway. Baby continuously avoids the ape's attacks. So there is absolutely no way Baby surpasses the raw power of the Golden Ape. Furthermore, it's stated the Golden Oozaru's power keeps increasing. The dialogue literally says that, and that's another insane perk to this form, truly giving a nod at the original Super Saiyan of Legend and how it destroyed himself in its own frenzy of increasing power. We really don't know how far the Golden Ape's power could go in that state until it either destroys itself or the rationale is controlled. But how much stronger is Golden Oozaru to Baby? Because it's quite clear he is. He is able to dominate the Tuffle, to the point where he's tanking Baby's attacks without damage. Well, the showcase of dominance is similar to Super Saiyan 1 Baby versus Super Saiyan 3 Goku in their first fight, where we put Baby as ×2 for toying around and tanking. Golden Ape Goku is literally having a wild time and taking the piss out of Baby Vegeta in terms of power. I'm easily putting him at 2 times Super Baby 2 for those reasons, but it could be a lot more in terms of his ever-growing raw power. And this puts Golden Oozaru Goku at 34,525,608 million times stronger than Kid Buu, and this equates to 1,128 times stronger than the power of Goku Super Saiyan 3. And this is the best part. 451,315 times from base form. That is the multiplier of the Golden Oozaru, nearly 500,000 and rising. Beautiful, very fitting for the legendary Super Saiyan of Legend transformation. Now, Super Baby 2 was exposed to 1,000 times the normal amounts of Brutes waves it takes than a normal Great Ape gets. It's important to note, Baby succumbed to an unnatural Oozaru transformation. This is also backed up when the old Kai states Baby was suffering internally from the overload, as shown with the redness in his eyes. Something was different, and it's no surprise Goku's 10 times Kamehameha didn't have any initial effect on Baby, because Baby's body was literally in overdrive, doing overtime, until his body eventually gave out on him, and he crashed and burned from the effects of the attack. You see, the moon is like a battery pack to the Oozaru's power. If you cut off the battery and the source of power, they revert back and lose the power amp, proving they need the battery to stay amped. Normal Brutes waves provide the 10 times power amp. 1,000 times the Brutes is like 1,000 power packs of power that Baby absorbs unnaturally. The Brutes waves do grant power as shown when replenishing Baby's lost power later on. If you don't want to believe that 1,000 times Brutes waves provide that much more of a power amp, allow me to provide further evidence that it is a legit power up amp. Look at it like this. If Goku absorbed 1,000 times the amount of his own Super Saiyan power from his friends, yes, we would need a lot of Super Saiyans, but let's say he absorbed 1,000 times the power of his Super Saiyan power. That's literally 50 times 1,000. It becomes his power, permanent or temporary, depending on the plot, but it does become his power. An example of this is in Dragon Ball Super with the failed Super Saiyan God ritual. Goku just absorbed the power of his friends. Goku's power skyrocketed to levels never reached previously after taking more energy than his normal allowance. This happens numerous times throughout Dragon Ball, and I'm sure you can come up with another example. So if normal Brutes waves amps the Saiyan body by 10 times, 1,000 times the power amp would be an unnatural 10,000 times power amp from Bulma's Brutes waves machine. And this was so strong that Baby didn't even need a tail to absorb the Brutes waves. But this is where it gets crazy. Great Ape Baby is not just a regular Oozaru. No, he's a goddamn Golden Oozaru, which we worked out to be a multiplier of 451,315 times base form. Goku becomes a Golden Oozaru through normal Brutes waves from the Earth. But Baby gets 1,000 times normal Brutes waves, meaning it's 1,000 times the Golden Oozaru power amp. And that is 451,315,000 times base form for the unnatural Golden Ape. Golden Great Ape Baby is a ridiculous 19 quintillion, 477 quadrillion, 405 trillion, 968 billion, 150 million times stronger than Kid Buu.
We get awesome things like Super Saiyan, Gohan as a Super Saiyan 2, and so much more. But in gaining all of that, we lose the most loyal and faithful, the most basic Saiyan trait that actually made them Saiyans to begin with, that made Goku different to the others, and that was his tail and the Oozaru abilities. Heck, even Vegeta for that matter. The days of King Kong were over, and when Super Saiyan showed up, this was officially the Great Ape killer in terms of true Saiyan power. This was the downfall, albeit Super Saiyan gets its own credit, but at the cost of the Oozaru. No more tails in the Saiyans. And in an interview with Akira Toriyama in the 30th anniversary of Dragon Ball, we get this regarding the Saiyan tails. With Goku, he started out being a straight up monkey. Then I thought about it some more and made him a human. But Torishima-san said that he needed to have something to set him apart, so I gave him a tail. But it just kept getting in the way. And a question was asked, did the tail get in the way of fighting? And he says, no, it's just that I'm always thinking about how things are supposed to work. So it was a real pain to figure out how he'd put his pants on and stuff like that. That's what always bugged me the most. Is there a hole in the pants? Does he put his tail through first, then put the pants on? So that just made me get rid of the darn thing, which I did in the end. So as funny as that is, and as much respect I have for Akira Toriyama for giving us Dragon Ball as a whole, the whole situation and getting rid of it, it's actually quite petty considering the amount of little things in Dragon Ball that we always question. Like, how does Goku take a shit and not destroy the city? How does Vegeta fuck Bulma and doesn't break her body at the moment he explodes? How does Saiyan armor stretch to the size of King Kong? Where does Super Saiyan 3 eyebrows go? All of these little things. And Toriyama is worried about a damn hole in Goku's uniform for his tail to go through? Either Akira Toriyama is just a hypocrite, or he's lying because he couldn't be asked to draw the tails anymore, or wanted to go in a completely different direction and scrap the Oozaru idea being linked to true Saiyan power. which I believe that one is probably true. But that's what writers do. They write and invent new ideas and concepts, and we know from most sources that Akira Toriyama is a guy that invents new ideas on the go. So backing up any loopholes or old ideas can sometimes be difficult and may indeed make him seem forgetful. But I know you guys will see where I'm coming from. Believe it or not, guys, there are some people out there who will try and defend Toriyama in decisions like these, as if they are best mates with him or something. The guy is known to be lazy and had Goku's Super Saiyan hair the way it is so he didn't have to color it. But back to the Oozaru, it's a shame it got treated like this. Not that we ever see the Oozaru truly defeated one-on-one where it counts, not that I can remember, but the way that the form is just gone. Almost like the writers are just trying to make us forget it. Think about it. We go to Dragon Ball Super and we get Universe 6. Oh, but their tails are non-existent. Just an evolution process. Now don't get me wrong, it's nice having different concepts or directions, but really, this has to be some of the most laziest, disloyal writing ever when referring to the Saiyan power. That was so important in Dragon Ball, and mainly Dragon Ball Z at the beginning. Just to say, well, Saiyans don't have tails anymore. There, done. Nail in the coffin. It's not like they went into any different directions with the Universe 6 Saiyans anyway. Not ways that really counted. For God's sake, they still obtained Super Saiyan, which didn't really give them any individuality anyway. Just another Super Saiyan bargain sale, but not even acknowledging Tails or a Great Ape heritage. I don't know about all of us, but I know many of us feel like this was a big slap in the face. A big slap of betrayal to the original Saiyan concepts. And why? Because it doesn't fit the formula of Dragon Ball anymore? Great Apes aren't allowed in this God and Angel game anymore? Of course, it's all about pretty lights and flashing colors now in Dragon Ball. Forget the primal Saiyan roots and lore. As long as you have God Ki, you can join the cool kids club. Perhaps the Oozaru or Great Apes would ditch because they wouldn't appeal to modern day kids. Perhaps the god forms and flashy universe busting explosions is the only way to make kids interested in the show now, with ever growing universal powers and explosions in multiverses. Forget classic storytelling and Saiyan history when it was at one time really important. A 10 times multiplier doesn't cut it anymore, guys. If you don't have a times billion multiplier on your base form, nobody is interested in you. Is that really what Dragon Ball has become? Maybe multipliers did really make the Oozaru form irrelevant, unintentionally, because it just wouldn't make no difference in battles anymore when it comes to battle power. But truth be told, with so much going on in Dragon Ball and so many concepts coming in, old concepts have to retire. And it's just the way of the game. There is no room for an Oozaru in Dragon Ball anymore, unfortunately. And that's how I feel, and it's just a sad feeling. Gots to sell those new toys, huh? Overall, some love giant monster battles like Godzilla blasts coming out from their mouths and throwing massive boulders and cities exploding. I'm one of them as long as it's done in moderation, but some don't like that, and they prefer sleek, slender battle fight scenes. But in Dragon Ball, if I'm honest, it's okay to have both, and maintain the prestige of something as interesting and important as the Great Ape. We know in Dragon Ball Z when Goku goes Super Saiyan 3 that there is a flash of the Oozaru symbolizing Goku's secret power once again, which I feel was only a quick nod at the once iconic Oozaru. After that flash, it wouldn't be important anymore apart from GT, unless we count the nod to the Oozaru in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie where Broly harnesses its power. But are we really crediting the Oozaru power for Broly's strength? Or are we crediting Broly for Broly's strength? It's freaking Broly. At that point in the show, on a rampage, nobody cares about the Oozaru. We are thinking about Broly's power. A quick shout out to Dragon Ball Evolution for a very disgraceful representation of the Oozaru, which didn't exactly heal the wounds. Actually, it's not like the Oozaru form had any true damage to it. Something much sadder happened to the Great Ape. Something much worse than being damaged. It was forgotten and ignored. A relic of the past. And that's it. But maybe it's better this way. Having something so iconic be left in the past, portraying the real-life progression of evolution, is the best way to have it. Better than having it tarnished and degraded over time to avoid it becoming a joke. The Oozaru, to me, has its pride intact, but for it to be forgotten and ignored by the writers is disrespectful. I only hope that one day, the Oozaru form will make a return in a meaningful way. Not like Super Dragon Ball Heroes, but in a way that is impactful once again to the story. Maybe to beat the living crap out of a villain that needs it. Just something to make us feel the awesome raw power of the Great Ape once again. So with that being said, thank you Akira Toriyama for utilizing the Great Ape in your work in early Dragon Ball and giving a nod to it here and there. But until the day where Oozaru is needed again as the true original source to Saiyan power, I bid the Great Ape a great farewell.